Hello, social media marketing agency members. I want to do just a quick video. I just want to give you kind of an update on things on my mind. This is a lesson that's kind of multifaceted. How about that? So what are the big things? And by the way, part of the reason this course is cool is because I can quickly update you with new trends that I see, so that you're not, with a book, you got to wait for it to be published. It takes 6 months, or it's always 6 months behind. So number one thing, just remember you're on the cutting edge. All the good information is out and used really quickly. So you got to stay on that cutting edge. So keep watching these videos because I'll be doing these kind of quick social media. I'm going to call this the state of social media. So number one, quick news flash. You might know this. Basically, Vine is gone, kind of, okay? So that was a big thing, but what you're seeing is a migration of a lot of the Viners onto Instagram and then onto YouTube. And some are on Twitter. Cody Co was over at my house. These guys started on Vine. So just a good thing to know. You want to be, if you're selling your services as a social media marketing person, you want to know the kind of up-to-date news, because you don't want to be talking to somebody and they bring up something and it seems like you don't know what you're talking about and they know a lot more, because why are they going to hire you if they know more than you? So you're seeing those trends. Social media apps come and die. Periscope is another one that basically was absorbed into Twitter. So it's still there, but it's not being used quite as much as a standalone app. But inside Twitter, if you go live on Twitter, it's how Twitter does live. Instead of making their own live technology, they just adopted adopted Periscope. Number three, I think we're on to it 3. YouTube now, I think on all accounts, but on my account, I can now go live on YouTube. So that's a cool little tool to keep in your back pocket. Depending on your clients, some of them can there's an advantage for them to use YouTube Live, especially if they've had good success with some of the other live platforms. The biggest one is still Facebook Live, but YouTube Live is there. And I would say the engagement's not as good as Facebook, but it's decent. So when I go live, if you watch my Snapchat now, I'm going live really on 4 places. Facebook's number 1. You get the most viewers, not necessarily right away, but you get it over time, assuming you have the same amount of followers on everywhere at Facebook, because Facebook allows a replay. Number 2 is Instagram Live now. Now, not all accounts have that, but more and more, I think they've rolled it out almost. It used to be just verified, and now I think, like Facebook, it's rolled out to everybody. Instagram, if you have, like I said, the same amount of followers on Facebook and Instagram will get more real-time followers. They're basically opening up the bandwidth. Facebook throttles it back because since so many people can go live, it costs a lot of money. It's expensive for Facebook. So what they do is they limit. So even if you have 10 million Facebook fans, they're not necessarily going to let all the fans see it. They want to save money. But with the replays, whenever you do a Facebook Live, make sure you save it to your phone, and then you make sure it gets uploaded to the page. That way people can watch it. It's evergreen. Evergreen means it can be watched over and over again in the future. So I go live on Facebook. I go live on Instagram. Now I go live on YouTube. YouTube gets about my 3rd highest engagement level. So it's a new platform. People aren't totally used to it. But I would think YouTube Live is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I get a decent amount of people. I did this car giveaway, and on all 4 of these, 4th one is Twitter/Periscope. I got about 250,000 people watching live. So if you got a customer that has a base of followers on those 4 platforms, it can be a cool tool to use, especially to announce giveaways, cool things that are time sensitive. I did it when I was at the Super Bowl. So that's the state of affairs there. It's the live world is interesting. I'll be interested when Snapchat rolls out a live feature. I would be very surprised and disappointed if they don't figure that out, because it's powerful, especially for Snapchat. And they could be like Instagram, just have it delete right away, so it has that Snapchat-y kind of feel. So that's the next piece of news about live. Other things on my mind, so I guess we're on number 4 to talk about Instagram versus Snapchat. Who's winning the battle? You have Instagram stories versus Snapchat stories. Snapchat was first. Instagram somewhat seems to have copied or has a pretty similar product. Here's the deal. I still think at this point, Snapchat, if I could have the same amount of views on Instagram story versus Snapchat story, I'd still rather have Snapchat. Snapchat has some things, especially if you're looking to target somewhat younger people. So it depends if you know, social media marketing agency, you got these customers. It depends what you're doing for them. So if you are, for example, marketing for target audience of 50-year-olds, you're better off on Facebook for the most part. Facebook's the oldest of the markets. Twitter's somewhat old too. And then Instagram and Snap are younger, and Snap's really young. But Snap people are more engaged. The format is still not as good on Instagram stories. Now they may fix that. They may add filters. They also, it doesn't seem like Instagram stories load as smoothly. The technology for some reason seems to be better on Snapchat. You can add clicking on Instagram stories, which is relatively powerful, but you know, I still, when I see the numbers, Snapchat's very powerful. So don't be afraid to grow your audience and your customer's audience on both of those. It doesn't just need to be on Instagram or just on Snapchat. I would say they're going to fight it out. Snapchat's doing an IPO. They could raise a lot of money. They could be a force to reckon with. Some smart people I know think Instagram will win in the end, but it's very hard to predict the future. So the best thing when you can't predict the future is prepare for both outcomes. And I think the third outcome, I don't think it's going to be Instagram wins, outcome 1. Snapchat wins, outcome 2. I think it's going to be third. I think they're both going to be in business for a while. Snapchat has 100 to 200 million daily users, I think. And Instagram, of course, has more. I think Instagram's at 1 billion or 500 to 1 billion, 500 million to 1 billion. Facebook, of course, has, I think, 1.6 billion now. So the marketplace usually stratifies. Younger people go one place, older people go one place, middle ground. That's really what you see. Younger people going to Snap, middle age, you know, and not really middle age, but let's say 25 to 40 migrating using Instagram a lot, but still young and older using Instagram. And then Facebook is by far the oldest. You can tell. If I post my roasts, Facebook is a lot of like 50-year-olds being like, what is this? You know, they don't understand. If you post them on Twitter. Now, Twitter is the interesting one because Twitter is really is a bifurcated market, meaning it's young and old and everything in between. In some ways, it's the most diverse. So that's the last thing I want to talk about. Number 5, state of affairs, Twitter. I've really been enjoying and getting better at using Twitter. Twitter is a very powerful tool. I'm going to tell you why. You can tweet a lot and it doesn't bother people much. You can't do that on Instagram. You definitely can't do it on Facebook. Facebook, you really, to me, I think you can post the least on Facebook and Instagram for sure. YouTube too. You don't want to be posting 20 things a day to YouTube. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, especially YouTube and Facebook, you got to be careful. I wouldn't post 10 times a day to Facebook. Maybe if it's a personal Facebook, but for a fan page, for a business page, it's not there. But Twitter, going back to Twitter, there's no rules. I mean, I see people posting 200, 300 times a day, and they have big followings. I personally think that's too much. But if you got a customer that's in the right business, who really wants to interact with their customers, and this is one thing I was going to say, one of the services you can provide is help them set up Twitter as a customer support. So if you have a business that's selling stuff, right? Like maybe a vendor, maybe one good source of customers is internet companies that are selling on Amazon or selling. You can make Twitter the place where customer support, so people can tweet out and say, hey, I didn't get my order, and then customer support for the company that's paying you $1,000 to $10,000 a month, right? They can just tweet back, and then it's transparent, and people see like, oh, this is a company that replies back and honors their refunds and all that, and helps me figure out my password and whatever it is. So if you have internet customers, businesses that operate on the internet, set up Twitter for them, you being their social media and internet marketing expert, as a tool for customer support to really interact publicly. It's a great way to do it. So, and don't be afraid to try a lot of stuff. You know, I've been trying replying back to haters, you know, roasting them back, having little wars of words, and it works well. So don't be afraid to experiment, okay? So leave a comment below to complete this lesson and move on. with your certification. Which of these things intrigues you the most, and why is it most relevant to you? Okay, I talked about 4, 5, 6 different things. Which of these is most relevant and useful to you, and why? Okay, leave a paragraph and we're good to go.